Today's November 24th, 2023. We only have one more day to go before the weekend starts. Tomorrow I get off work at 1:30 in the afternoon because I worked very hard. I deserve 4.5 hours early leave from the office, a legitimate leave because I'm an honor worker and excellent employee, and they all revere me except several people, which we usually deem morons in the office politics. Regardless, as with several days ago, let's find out the American Army system. The Army, I used to work for the U.S. Army for 2.5 years as a KATUSA soldier. KATUSA stands for Korean Troops to Korean Augmentation Troops to the U.S. Army. Basically, I belong to the ROK Army, Korean Army, but from day one after basic training, I got assigned to the U.S. Army. We wore the same uniform. We wore the same unit insignia. We sleep together in the same room, same accommodation, same mess hall. We eat the same stuff, but we get paid differently, of course, according to each branch of the service. My branch was Korean Army, and also rank system is of course different because we belong to the different organization. But basically, I had to follow the U.S. Army chain of command. So it was an interesting U.S. Army experience. Hooah! So let's find out the three branches. Hooah! Active duty versus reserve or National Guard. This article is from va.gov, Veterans Affairs. In Korean, 보건복지부, for affairs, for welfare of the veterans, right? In Korea, we have something similar, but I cannot think of it right now. 향군에 was something like that. Active duty versus reserve or National Guard or 보훈복지부, right? 보훈복지부. What is the difference between someone who is active duty military and someone who is in the reserve or National Guard? A person who is active duty is in the military full-time. They work for the military full-time, may live on a military base, and can be deployed at any time. Persons in the reserve or National Guard are not full-time active duty military personnel, although they can be deployed at any time should the need arise. The reserve. Each branch of the military has a reserve component, and the reserve are under the command of their respective military branch. Example, Army Reserve it's a plural, right? Army Reserve are under the command of the Army. The purpose of the reserve is to provide and maintain trained units and qualified persons to be available for active duty in the armed forces when needed. This may be in times of war, in a national emergency, or as the need occurs based on threats to national security. Their presence can be called upon to serve either stateside or overseas. Either stateside, yesterday we learned that you are out at the bars and restaurants, right? Either stateside or overseas. The primary job of the active duty forces The primary job of the reserve is to fill the gaps in stateside service positions when the active duty forces ship overseas. Members of the reserve are required to participate in training drills 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks per year. So basically 2 weeks plus 24 days of weekend. National Guard. From this section, we learned the words stateside and overseas. National Guard. The National Guard consists of the Army National Guard and the Air Force Air National Guard. While definitely funded, the National Guard is organized and controlled by state. While federally funded, the National Guard is organized and controlled by state. However, in times of war, the National Guard can become federalized and deployed. The National Guard engages in a number of activities. During local emergencies, National Guard units assist communities endangered by storms, floods, fires, and other disasters. National Guard companies deployed overseas may see combat but are more often building schools, hospitals, training local peacekeepers, or teaching local farmers more efficient farming techniques and better ways to use of their land. As with the reserve, the National Guard requires training drills 1 weekend a month and 2 weeks per year. National Guard members are given veteran status if they have served for 30 consecutive days in a war zone. Okay, that's good. National Guard members are given veteran status if they have served for 30 consecutive days in a war zone. Easy peasy, I think. If you can survive the mere 30 days in the war zone, then you become a veteran. Deployment, veteran. Deployment. Members of the Reserve and National Guard may be deployed. When scheduled to deploy, they may have extended drill in preparation, resulting in a greater time commitment on behalf of the service member. What does it mean? When scheduled to deploy, they may have extended drill in preparation, resulting in a greater time commitment on behalf of the service member. The current conflicts, Operation Enduring Freedom, Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation New Dawn, OEF, OIF, OND, have an all-volunteer force which could result in multiple deployments as opposed to previous conflicts like Vietnam, when a draft was instituted to create additional military personnel. OIF, OEF, OND have been the largest and longest lasting mobilization of the Reserve and National Guard since the Korean War. Merchant Marine. The U.S. is also served by the Merchant Marine, a fleet of merchant ships operated by either the government or private sector that are engaged in commerce and or transportation of goods during peacetime. It is an auxiliary of the Navy and during wartime can be called to deliver troops and war material, troops, right? Peacetime. Those who serve in the Merchant Marine are called mariners, not Marines, right? Marines and mariners. They are civilians who are only considered military personnel during times of war. Mariners are given veteran status if they served in war. Interesting, right? So we have Merchant Marine, National Guard, and Reserve. They are all called upon to serve overseas sometimes. One more sentence that I feel uncomfortable with is, I think I don't understand it, the context. When scheduled to deploy, they may have extended drill in preparation, resulting in a greater time commitment on behalf of the service member. Members of the Reserve and National Guard may be deployed. When scheduled to deploy, they may have extended drill in preparation, resulting in a greater time commitment on behalf of the service member. I have confusion about drill in preparation, right? Drill in preparation. What does it mean? I am clueless about this, but from this article, we see that National Guard is federally funded, but they are organized and controlled by the state. And also we learn the expression peacetime, stateside, expressions such as peacetime, stateside, wartime, war zone, war materials, mariners, not marines, civilian fleet, drill in preparation. I don't know what that is, drill in preparation. Drill, they have extended drill in preparation. Drill is exercise, right? Repetitive exercise until you achieve certain level of skills or competency. And preparation, you prepare your gear for the combat deployment. So obviously drill in preparation means they always train soldiers to be deployed at any time. So obviously when they are to be deployed, when the service members are to be deployed, they need to get compensated. Well, this was the article, interesting article, and probably I should give a lecture, brief lecture about the U.S. Army system later in Korean, of course, for the Korean public. It would be a much of fun and intelligent briefing because I worked for the 516th personnel service company then. But now it's a 516th Personnel Service Command under the U.S. Army 8th Personnel Command, or PERSCOM, right? Personnel Service Command. I was the sergeant. I went to the PLDC, that's a leadership program for sergeants. Yes, I was a Korean Katusha soldier, but since I was with the U.S. Army, I got an opportunity to go to the school, go to the 4-week school, and it was much of fun, and my English got improved, and I got a leadership skill. So that's it. I have to go to work now. Have a wonderful Thursday. Bye-bye.